What's up? Welcome to another episode of Unnamed Sports Show right here on Gorilla Cross. I'm your host, Quan59, and we have another dope show for you today. It got a packed house, man. I like when we have a packed house in here to get everyone's sports takes and politics. We're going to rate the debate and eat dogs and cats live on air. So I'm your host, Quan59. Got my guest co-host. It's been a long time, but he's back in the building. Football season. Chris Wynn, what's good?
It's going great, man. Pumped up, little Thursday action as we got the first Thursday night football game, right, guys, going on in the National Football League tonight. Some college football action going on also. And coming off week one, where both myself and Quan, our other two esteemed co-hosts here, didn't have great luck as far as their team on for first game of the season. But
35 years. Yeah. And it's the second Thursday night game, but first Thursday night official game on Amazon because the kickoff game is always on NBC. Yeah. But man, I actually like Amazon. When they first did it, I was like, Amazon, like what? But I like it. Like I love the broadcast. I love everyone they have on there. They do a really good job. So Thursday night games used to be horrible. They used to be games like I didn't watch Thursday night football. I hated Thursday night football. And they've done it right where they actually have good matchups now. So shout out to them. But we have two more guest co-hosts in the building. From Into the West Comics, you can check them out in an hour and a half on Into the West Comics YouTube page. But I got Frank Pina in the building.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm still processing the Raiders' loss.
Really?
Not really.
Okay,
no,
I didn't think so because they lose all the time.
I moved on. Yeah, quickly.
All right. I mean, listen, man. You have 17 more weeks of the NFL left. I mean, one of the weeks is a bye week, so you can't lose that week.
Hey, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You're a half glass full kind of guy.
He's already going in on you, Frank. Right off the top.
For 30
Already.
years, Chris. For 30
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Yeah, he's sick of me already. And we have another special guest, first time in the studio on the show, maybe first time ever on a podcast. We're going to talk to her about that, but she could whoop any of us in this room. She's an MMA fighter. Michelle in the building. What's good?
Hi, how are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. He's processing the Raiders loss. I'm processing the hour of traffic getting over here, but
The traffic's crazy, especially like during the 4 o'clock shows. When we do like 2 o'clock, it's not as bad, or like noon. But 4 o'clock, like that's heavy traffic hours. But I'm glad you made it.
I made it.
Yeah, we started a little late because I think we were all late, so it didn't matter. Like they're calling me, I'm on the freeway. They're like, I'm running late. I'm like, all right, it's me too. I've been late my whole life for everything.
Yeah. Definitely relate.
Yeah.
It's
late all the
Vegas.
time?
There's cones everywhere, traffic everywhere.
State bird.
It's basically, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It's textbook for this town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, what we do with everyone who's on for the first time, name your favorite sports teams on all the 4 or 5 major sports.
Okay. So football, I'm a Raiders fan because I'm born and raised in Vegas. That's our first football team. Hockey, I like the Boston Bruins, but now I'm a Golden Knights fan, but previously I
was about to say, wait.
Yeah, no. I'm
If
a
you're a
Vegas Golden
Raiders
Knights
fan because that's our first team, and you're not a Golden Knights fan.
Yeah.
Okay. Why the Bruins?
I liked all Boston teams before
Okay.
because I figured I'd pick a city because I'm only from Vegas, and then my mom is from Hawaii. There's no teams there, and then my dad's from California and likes a bunch of random California teams. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be consistent. I like all Boston teams. Then I switched over to Vegas teams, and then what are the other sports? So I'm a Red Sox fan.
Basketball.
Basketball. I'm a C's
Celtics?
fan. Yes.
Oh my!
If I would have
But
known
I
that,
would-
I'm not sure if I would have let her in the studio.
But I've been a Celtics fan, not just previously, or not just recently.
That doesn't help with Quan.
I know, I was
That doesn't
gonna
make
say,
it any
that
better.
probably makes it
Yeah,
worse.
You see all my Laker gear
Exactly.
everywhere hung up.
You see all the gold over here.
Yeah. And what about WNBA? Do you watch WNBA?
I am an Aces fan.
Okay, cool. Ace is playing really well. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. Asia Wilson. Well, let's talk about that right now to kick it off. Asia Wilson broke the record for most points in a WNBA season ever. And there's still, a few games left?
Yeah, they still, I believe,
games?
3 or 4 games left in the season. She did it last night in Indiana in a victory over Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. She just continues to do it, and I've talked about this because, and we've talked about this a lot, Quan, right? Where I think we just don't appreciate it here in Vegas because we see it on a night in, night out basis with this woman. She is, in my opinion, already on the Mount Rushmore when you talk about the WNBA, right? When you talk about women's basketball and that league, she's already there. It's one more stepping stone for her. It's one more opportunity. But they're also chasing team accolades right now, right? Where they're trying to be the first team in the WNBA to win 3 straight championships, obviously being the 2-time defending champions. It's just a great atmosphere here in Vegas. They have down there at Michelob Ultra Arena, and then sometimes over at the T-Mobile. It's a great thing to see here in Vegas. As Mikey talks about, like she's born and raised here. I've been here for 20 plus years. It's fascinating to kind of see that whole dynamic that is the Las Vegas Aces, Golden Knights. The Raiders have a history of their own, but they are establishing themselves here in Vegas. And then eventually, and I'm sure all of us, for basketball fans, they're going to have the NBA here. It's only a matter of time. It's just really cool to see kind of this, and UNLV Sports doing what they're doing. So it's really cool just to see from a city standpoint what they're able to do. And Asia Wilson just kind of encapsulates that with the Las Vegas Aces.
And they gave Las Vegas their first championship too.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Sure did.
And we'll see how they do this year. They've been doing good lately the last few games, but they've been struggling. I mean, I think right now they're the 4th seed, I think. So, we'll see what they do in the playoffs. I don't think anybody wants to see them in the playoffs, but they do feel a little vulnerable. Chelsea Gray hasn't been herself coming off that injury that she suffered last year in the finals. So we'll see what they do, man. I'm interested to see. Caitlin Clark is going to the playoffs. And we've seen her break records and do things that not even no rookies have done, nobody's done in the WNBA. And then Angel Reese going out, getting hurt. That messed up every possibility of the co-rookie of the year, I think. I think it was still kind of on target, but I think that kind of wiped that out. But there was a great rookie class coming in. Cameron Brink got hurt early, so we didn't get to see her a lot, but she had been playing really well. So I think the WNBA is definitely on the up and up. And we have, the next few years, we have good classes coming in too, with Paige Becker coming in from UConn, Juju coming in, and probably two or three more years from USC. So it's definitely fun to watch. I wish it wouldn't run into the NFL season. I think that messes it up. They start the season during the NBA playoffs, and then they end the season during NFL. And I think that kind of, I don't know where else you put them, but I think that kind of hurts the WNBA a little bit, because you're doing the finals during on a Sunday afternoon during football.
Yep.
And it's hard for people to, really watch.
Yeah, there were some big games that they had scheduled. I think it was when the college football season started too, right?
Yeah.
Where it was it's tough to go against it. But Quan, like you said, I don't know how they fixed that. I think you know what I mean? There's nowhere.
You have to figure out your,
because the schedule is the schedule, right?
Spot,
and they're not going to shorten the schedule,
no,
right? So I don't know if there's any part of the calendar in which you're going to do that. So they're just going to kind of weather that storm, I guess.
Yeah. They kind of pick up the momentum of the college season ending, because they do the draft a week later.
Yeah,
I think after the college season ends.
Yeah.
And then they try to start the season as soon as they possibly can. They just build the momentum. They've been building on it for the last 3 or 4 years, and that's how you've seen how much that league has grown by leaps and bounds. Just by just a snapshot of Asia Wilson last season, she was the leading vote getter for the WNBA All-Star Game, and she got 96,000 votes. This year, Caitlin had 700,000 votes. It just shows you the impact of what she's had to the league and how the league has grown in popularity. And it also helps that you have kind of that dominant force over here in Vegas that everybody kind of gets to look at with all of this incoming new talent. I think the WNBA is just it's growing like crazy. We have another team in 2 years, I think, and then we have another team after that.
We have another team next year.
Golden State, right?
Golden State.
And then
The
in
Valkyries.
2 years, we get Toronto.
We get Toronto.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake. They shouldn't move Toronto, but whatever.
But a quick take on what you said, Quan, as far as the Aces, right, and repeating, it's not going to be easy, guys. It's not at all. They lost to the New York Liberty the other night. That was their last loss. Was in New York.
wasn't playing though.
Yeah, that's true.
And they did come back and almost win that game.
They came back and almost won. But you take a look at it right now. If we're talking September 12th, right, 2024, they're not the favorite to win the championship right now. So to Frank's point, that's good, right? Because that's other teams that are involved that people care about and that think have a chance to win a championship. And it lights a little fire under the backside, right, to Becky Hammon and to Asia and to everybody else on this team. And so that's going to give them motivation going into the later part of this regular season here and then going into the postseason.
Well, in the beginning of the season, it was kind of like everyone's expecting the Aces to cakewalk for their three-peat. And that was kind of the narrative. So I think it makes it more interesting seeing that they're almost an underdog now, right? Even though they've won 2 in a row. They've struggled against Minnesota all year. Minnesota beat the Liberty in the Commissioner's Cup. Yep. So they're a very good team right now. So definitely, man, if you guys don't watch it. I know it's women's sports and a lot of people trip out over that, but it's really good basketball. Very fun to watch. So make sure you guys check it out if you haven't. If you're watching live, please share the live video stream link and comment. Let us know where you're watching from. We have a lot to get into. We're going to get into UFC NOCHE right now. We have Tyreek Hill versus the Cops we're going to be talking about. And we have NFL Week 2. These weeks start going by quick. I know it's only the second week, but I hate when we start getting to Week 8, Week 9. It's man, it's going by too quick. But exciting NFL season already. We'll kind of recap Week 1 and what we saw. Some of our overreactions for Week 1 and all that good stuff right now. So we're going to get into UFC NOCHE, Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. Did I say it right, Michael?
Yeah.
Dvalishvili, yeah.
Yeah. He's been in the studio before, so I've met him. He had Sean's Thriller jacket on as he walked in. I actually took the video. I should have pulled it up. I took the video of my Ring doorbell camera of him walking in with the jacket on. But this is a fight that we've been talking about. We've been wanting to see. Dvalishvili's been wanting this fight for a long time. O'Malley beat his friend Aljamain Sterling. We saw how that went. So, this is a fight that's been a long time in the making. Michael, I'm going to start with you first because you actually train in the same place. You know him. So what are your thoughts on this?
I'm super excited for this, first of all. I think he's been, number one contender for so long, but we didn't get to see him actually fight for the belt for a while because Aljo had it.
Yeah.
He's his best friend. They didn't want to fight.
Wasn't trying to fight his friend.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about that? Would you fight your friend for a title? Because I would fight Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd fight my friend for a lot less than a title, probably. No, I'm just kidding. But so I'm excited for that, as a fighter. Marav's a really nice guy. I think if you've ever come across him in any way in Vegas, you know he's like
super
so
cool,
nice,
yeah.
so super cool. Most fighters are, actually, in my opinion, the guys that act the nicest to the media are the guys that are not nice in person, and then the guys that, well, except for him, and then the guys in the media that act all, rough and tough are so nice when you meet them.
Yeah.
But I think that Marav is gonna take this. I think he's gonna grind it out. I think O'Malley's not gonna be able to handle all of the takedown attempts. I don't think Marav's gonna finish every takedown attempt, but I don't even think that's the point.
Yeah.
A lot of people bring up in his last fight with Cejudo that he had so many attempts, but he only had, I think it was finished 5 of the takedowns. But, I don't think the point was to, get all those finishes, and I think it was to grind him out, and he did. And, Cejudo was an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling, so for him to do that with him and have the confidence and how he grinded out Peter Yan, I think, O'Malley's going to struggle with this one. I think on paper, too, especially, it's the worst matchup for O'Malley, even though he keeps saying it's not. I think it is, and I think he's going to give him a run for his money for sure.
And he has to keep saying that. And the way Marav handles Cejudo, I mean, he dominated him.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, an Olympic gold medalist and everything. And to dominate like that, it's going to be hard, man. The size difference is crazy because O'Malley is tall, and I think that's kind of what got Aljamain Sterling. But I think when it comes down to it with grappling, Aljamain was trying to stand up with him too long. And Marab's not going to do that at all. So I think it's going to be a totally different story. It's hard. Frank, what do you have in this?
I'm leaning toward, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. I was going to say Marab. I'm leaning towards Marab just because of what we're saying about his ground control and trying to dictate the pace as far as this fight goes. O'Malley is tough. And if you're going to sit there and exchange with him, that's going to be a different story. But I think that he's going to try to dictate pace early. And I think ultimately, Marab, do you think it's a decision or do you think that he submits him? Or
I think it's going to go to a decision.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I think it's going to go the distance. It's going to be a great fight. The venue, everything about it is going to be really cool.
And we did talk about that. They're fighting at the Sphere out here in Vegas. They said it's a once in a lifetime thing. If it goes really well, I can't imagine them not trying it again. They're just talking about how much money they're spending trying to get it done and everything. But only 10 fights on the card, which is very low for a pay-per-view.
The sequences that they've got to put as far as what they spend a lot of time putting all the video stuff that they show in the background for concerts. I can't imagine what type of ideas they have for what they're going to put on screen. They did the NHL draft in there, I think this past year or earlier this year. So there's going to be a lot of work going into this to pull it off. So they'll probably learn from the experience, right? And then when they go into it, if they decide they're going to do it again, it's going to be a success. And I think they're going to probably make adjustments going into the following year, and they can make it an annual thing that they try to do during Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah, Quan, as the every man and every woman on this panel, when it comes to UFC, I've got a couple takes on this entire card and on this fight, right? When it comes to this main event here with O'Malley, obviously, and Marab, there is a counter effect. What do I mean by that, right? Counter effect is that there are people that are casual fans, people that are not so casual that tune into every card, and then there's people that don't even know about UFC that are going to watch this because of Sean O'Malley, right? They are. Sure. They just
because
are.
he's becoming
and
a star.
Gonna be,
He's a draw.
He's become a draw. He's made the 135-pound weight class big business. He really has. Like he's been that guy. So you also have, as when Mikey pointed out, the contrast in styles, right? A guy you pointed out too, where you got the tall, lanky striker, right, going against the guy who's going to be is a master as far as on the ground, right, grappling, and you got that clash. And listening to some of my guys over at SureDog and some other places, they've been talking about this. Their idea, and I happen to agree with them, as far as if Merab is going to be successful, he's going to have to get inside somehow. And they're not sure, and I'm not sure if Merab is going to be able to handle punishment that he's going to get from O'Malley in this fight. You know what I mean? Like O'Malley, it can be devastating when it comes to the stand-up game in this matchup. And
if he can get to him, and I think that's going to be the issue. So, I'm not sure if Sean gets to him.
You talk about that contrast, right? In styles, he's going to have to come inside. He's going to have to get inside to be effective and get it on the ground. And obviously O'Malley doesn't want that. O'Malley would rather be standing up and striking in this fight. So to me, it's a textbook clash of styles almost, and the fight's going to be determined by who is able to kind of impose their will with those types of styles. And I just think that O'Malley is going to be the one he's going to do too much damage, I think, to Merab in this fight, and that's why I'm taking O'Malley. It's not because I'm leaning towards the numbers, because O'Malley happens to be a short favorite. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint, I think that his style is going to prevail over what Merab brings to the table. Yeah. And Merab, to Mike's point also, the guy's on fire. He's won, 10 straight fights?
He's ridiculous.
10 straight fights. So, come on. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're just talking about the top of the ticket. There's still a number of fights that are going to be entertaining as all get out. When it comes to this, you brought up, of course, the Sphere, close to my heart because I work my regular job during the week at the Palazzo down there. It's going to be wild on Saturday. You already see Dana going on with the promotion of this fight. It's a lot like Will Ferrell from Semi Pro, talking about how it's going to be the greatest live event in American combat sports history ever.
No, he said any sport. I mean,
I think he did say every sport.
He said anything.
But you get the point I'm making. Like it's over the top, the promotion, which is great, and it's going to be an outstanding atmosphere. Alexa Grasso, they did a great piece on ESPN this week. I don't know if you guys saw it, where she had basically a tour of the Sphere. They showed the whole setup, right? And you guys were talking about kind of what they were going to do. They're going to have a huge big screen behind it. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to go to the Sphere yet. I haven't.
No.
But it looks like it's going to be a one of a kind. It is a one of a kind type of atmosphere, right? And situation that they're going to want to multiply, they're going to want to duplicate multiple times. And so that's going to be kind of fascinating to see how that all shakes out.
And I know Dana's talked about taking some of the stuff they've learned from, working this and bringing some of the ideas. Obviously, you don't have the big screen and stuff like that, but bringing some of the ideas that they've been creating into all the UFC shows in the future. So we might see a lot of changes in some of the UFC pay-per-views moving forward. But I haven't picked yet. I'm so torn on this fight right now. And I know UFC wants Sean because they're losing stars. They don't. John Jones barely fights. And even when he does, he might only have one fight left. McGregor, now it's rumored he might fight early 2025, but we don't know. I really would not be shocked if we never see him fight again. He doesn't need the money. He's not motivated. He just likes keeping his name out there. Ronda Rousey's been gone for a long time. Amanda Nunes is retired. So it's very difficult on the star power right now. You got Alex Pereira. I think he's a star, but he's also not English speaking. And I think that kind of hurts. But Sean O'Malley is. And I think this would hurt the UFC a little bit if he loses. But I'm actually going with Merab. I just think he's the better fighter. If Sean can catch him, Merab's going to be a lot smaller going into this. So if Sean can catch him with some of those hits, then he could win. But I just don't think he's going to be able to catch Merab. I just don't see it. So I'm going with Merab in this fight. Let's move on to the next fight. Another title fight: Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Frank, I'll start with you on this one. This is number 3.
Let's say the trilogy.
Alexa Grasso won, and everybody was shocked. Alexa was always a really good fighter. She's fun to watch. Nobody expecting her to beat Valentina. Valentina doesn't lose. She lost to Amanda, and that was it. And she ends up winning. And then the next fight, great fight, ends up in a draw. So now they have to do a trilogy, and they were both the coaches on Ultimate Fighter. How do you see this one panning out on Mexican Independence Day, Frank? During the Canelo fight, by the way.
What, they're going to have this on?
Canelo.
It's probably going to be opposite of it. Yes,
I'm going to have
basically.
it on both TVs.
Yeah.
I'm hacking the Canelo fight for
You know
anybody
it's going to be
cares.
timed out probably exactly on
Don't
that.
pay
too.
attention to that YouTube. He was
And
just
they've done
kidding.
that before. Dana's actually moved things around to let that fight go by before too, and vice versa. But anyways,
I've watched Valentina for years fighting, and I love her style. I like Alexa's approach. It's just how she seems very chill when she's her approach to the fights, and I think she showed us something. And the when she was able to take Valentina down. So I am going to go with Grasso to retain.
Yeah.
And then fight Canelo and beat him.
To fight Canelo that night.
Go to that and fight him. Yeah.
Whoever wins the Canelo fight fights the winner of Alexa and Shevchenko in the middle of the strip, because they have to meet somewhere in the middle.
We'll go to Fremont.
Yeah, might as well. And Alexa has a lot of confidence now. You beat someone once and then draw with them when everyone, even on the second fight, is like, okay, that was a fluke. Valentina's going to win the second one, and she fought her just as good, just as tough. So, Mikey, what do you think about this fight?
I'm going
and which
the
one
other
would you
way.
want to fight most?
Grasso, because I think Shevchenko's a better fighter.
Okay.
But Shevchenko's always been one of my favorite fighters for sure.
She's so dope.
I think it was crazy when she lost the first time to Grasso. I thought I'm usually not 100% positive on fights, but I was like, no, she's winning that fight. She lost that one. I think the last fight, it ended in a draw, but honestly, I'd put it Shevchenko. I think she won that. I wouldn't say she got completely robbed, because I think it was very close, but she definitely, in my opinion, won that fight. So I think she's going to come out with that on her back. I'm taking Shevchenko. I think she's just the better fighter. I think as women fighter goes, she's one of the best of all time.
Definitely.
And she's just different.
Yeah.
Alexa Grasso was describing Valentina Shevchenko, and I think all she said was she's weird, but I know what
She's
she
weird.
meant, but I feel
She
like
must be Democrat.
I feel like you have to be weird to be that good, and I don't know. I think Shevchenko, this is also maybe a legacy fight for her. It's really important, because what does she do after this if she loses? I think if she wins, she's gonna keep going, but to be honest, I think if she loses, she's gonna retire.
Ooh.
So that
Hot
might
take.
be on her mind,
Huh.
and I think she's gonna win.
All right.
That's who I'm taking.
Chris Wynn, dogs or cats? What would you rather have for dinner?
I like cats probably, but more than dogs. But hey,
You must
look at this.
You must eat a lot of Chinese food.
Yes, exactly. You look at this fight, though, and you think absolutely motivation for both these women, right? In this situation. For Grasso, it's a chance to say, hey, put to rest the chance that, maybe I got lucky and I'm not a true champion kind of thing, right? And obviously with Shevchenko, it's more of a, I'm probably not in my prime anymore, which he probably isn't, but I still have something left in the tank and something to prove, right? And if she does win, then that creates a scenario of what? It's 1-1-1, right? Basically, and is it going to be the end? You know what I mean? You almost have to fight again, right? If she does win. So it is interesting, that whole dynamic with Grasso. Look, I think she fascinates me too on this card too, because obviously the connection with her father, being basically the coach that everybody knows from Mexican MMA, and it's Mexican Independence Day, and you have 8 fighters on this card that are Mexican, on UFC NOCHE in Vegas. So I think that's really cool. That doesn't have anything to do with a breakdown of the fight, but I'm just kind of pointing that out.
Yeah.
But to me, Again, I hate to look at betting lines, right? And to look at Vegas taking a look at things from a sports wagering standpoint. I'm going to lean Grasso, though, in this fight. I think that, she's the younger fighter. I I don't necessarily know if her opponent is anywhere near her prime still. I think that has left to be seen, and we'll find out. But I'll probably lean Grasso in the fight.
All right, I'm going with Valentina. I think, like Mikey said, I think she's the best female fighter of all time. Even though you probably say Amanda is. Yeah, I'm going with Valentina though. I think she's going to have a different hunger in this one, knowing that she already lost. Like, she can't lose. If she loses, that kind of messes up her legacy a little bit too. To lose twice and then draw once to this fighter, and she'll never get to fight her again to prove it. So now is the prove it time, and then after that, do they fight again? Probably, because what other fight would there be? You know, in that division?
She could retire. I mean, if she lost, she could retire.
Because she retires, she wins.
I think she could, but I don't think she would.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
One more key point too, right? All three of you guys know way more about MMA than I do and UFC. This is an underrated rivalry, isn't it? I mean, you think about the rivalries in the sport, both men's and women's. You know, the fights that they've had. I mean, it's been intriguing as all get out, right? I mean, this is an underrated rivalry in the sport. I think that is not appreciated like it should be.
I think the problem with it is they like each other, I think. Mm-hmm. And so there's not like a lot of bad blood.
Yeah, they're not trash talking.
They don't trash talk.
There was a lot of hostility during the show.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, keep your distance, whatever. Like, I respect you, but, stay over there kind of thing. But they didn't seem nasty towards each other or anything.
Yeah,
They
like I said, the worst thing she said was she was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually you see on Ultimate Fighter, like, they're asking them really to, like, overdo it. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't even do that. So this was, that was us seeing them overdoing it.
Yeah.
She's weird. Like, I mean, that's as much as they could do. So it's hard to have a rivalry when they do like each other and respect each other so much.
That's fair.
You're not really selling the fight as good as you should by acting like you don't like each other.
Right.
Yeah. All right, next fight on the card, and we're going backwards for some reason. Brian Ortega, number 3, versus Diego Lopez, featherweight bout. This is such a fun fight to watch. I like both these fighters a lot. Frank, I'm going to start with you on this.
Well, Lopez is same camp as Grasso. They're the same coach.
Yeah.
They're both I think it's the Lobo gym or something like that they work out at. They're training together. And that happens. That's pretty common for the cards that they'll be fighting the same card. I love the style of these guys, like you said. I mean, there's gonna be just like a ton of punches thrown early on. They're gonna be tattooing each other. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like Ortega too. I mean, he's T-City. T-City.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching him. I think it's going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like the fight that we might be talking about the main events, the co-main events a lot the next day. But this might be the fight that everybody's going to be like, well, did you see Lopez and Ortega? Like that might be the fight that we're talking about a lot the next day. But I'm leaning towards Ortega.
Yeah. I think I'm going with Ortega also. Diego Lopez, his last fight was Dan Ige. Dan Ige took the fight on 3 hours notice, which was insane. Like, he lives in Vegas, and they call, who was Lopez supposed to fight? Do you remember?
It was supposed to be T-City.
Oh, yeah. It was supposed to be this fight. And he got sick. It was an infection or something. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what happened. Got sick. And so they had to push the fight back, but they still, they wanted to fill that fight up. So what they do is they call gyms or call managers, whatever. And Dan Ige stepped in on literally like that day. They called him up, and Dan Ige trains a lot and stays in shape for the fight and fought. And did cool for someone fighting off 3 hours notice. But I like Ortega a lot, man. I mean, he almost beat Volk, even though he got destroyed and Volk almost killed him. But I like Ortega a lot. I'm going with Ortega in this fight. Michael.
I'm going against both of you. I'm going for the favorite. I think Diego Lopez. But I agree with what you said about this is probably going to be the most exciting fight on the card. Looking forward to this. I was sad when it got canceled last time they were supposed to fight, but I think coming off of that fight, he took Dan, because he had everything to lose. Dan didn't really have much to lose, you know.
At all, yeah.
And it's not like he just took a fight from an okay fighter. Danny is a really great fighter.
Yeah.
So he took that when he had a full camp, but he wasn't preparing for him, and he has a different style.
Which a lot of people don't understand that, right? Like you're training for a specific fighter, and you're studying everything they do to combat that, and then you get another fighter hours before. It's a hard adjustment.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like, you know, you're studying all this time for something and something completely different. But
you're studying for math, and they give you a science test.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
So I think he's gonna have the momentum from that. I also think the way he presses forward, he's very aggressive, I would say. And then as far as the grappling, Brian Ortega is a great grappler, but Diego Lopez is up there too. I think they said that he trains with Alexa Grasso, but I think I heard he's also Alexa Grasso's like jiu-jitsu coach.
He is.
So I think his game, like, he's gonna be so confident that if he gets taken down, he can handle him on the ground, that I just think he might overpower him. And I think UFC is trying to build him up, you know, and make him one of the next stars. So I know UFC definitely wants that, but I mean, Brian Ortega is great. He's a vet. He's always been good in that weight class, but I do think Lopez is gonna have it over on him.
All right. Chris,
Interesting.
Who convinced you?
I'm getting great takes both ways. By the way, you two would make a little bit of coin if you go to the window, right? Plus 155 right now for Brian Ortega in this matchup. Lopez obviously minus 185 in this matchup. Again, we're going back to it. It's going to be an exciting fight, right? You're talking about two guys that can be electrifying, both standing up and on the ground. Right. I would say this about both of them: very unorthodox, right, when it comes to their striking game on their feet. But as Michael pointed out, once they get to the ground, Ortega, I think, is more elite than Lopez is, but Lopez can hold his own if it does get to the ground. So I'm leaning towards Lopez in this bout. I think that his experience, along with just his skill set. He does have a little bit when it comes to height on him, I guess, you know, on Ortega. Yeah, but given that they both are unorthodox, if it is something that ends up being a striking type of bout, I'd probably go with Lopez.
Yep. All right, so we are split. Let us know in the comments if you guys are watching live. Let us know who you guys got in all these fights. Next fight, I don't really know much about this fight, so I'm gonna start with Mikey on this. Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovic something. Yeah. I really don't know these fighters.
I guess I would agree. I think of the card I'm least familiar. I think I'm probably more familiar with a lot of the undercard guys maybe than these two. I know that they both have good stand-up, but I think Zellhuber's taking this one. He has, I think, power-wise, I think they're very similar. I think they both have the same amount of power, but what's going to be the deciding factor is going to be how much quantity's thrown, who's throwing the most. And I think Zellhuber stands really strong behind his jab, and he has a good jab, where I don't think Esteban's going to be able to close the distance and really, like, you know, give him a good shot, because he's, you know, pushing away with the jab. So I'm going with Daniel Zellhuber.
Right. Frank, who you got?
There's another Mexican fighter, actually. He's from Mexico City. He trains Extreme Couture here in town. I like him. He fought in the Contender Series, and he won his contract, I think, on the Contender Series back in like 2021, I think. Okay. And then the last day he did a fight, he had a fight night, UFC Fight Night. He had knockout of the night.
Okay.
So I like I said, I think that there's a lot of power, being that these guys are both lightweights. I think Zellhuber I'd probably give him the edge. I'd probably go with Daniel in this fight. I don't remember seeing Esteban Ribovic. I don't remember seeing him fight that many times. So I'm gonna go with Daniel.
So, Quan, to Frank's point, he brought up, obviously, we got a little Mexican-Argentinian rivalry going on here, which always gets a little spicy, right?
Be a nice soccer matchup.
Yeah, when it's a lightweight bout like this. Again, I'm not going to take too deep a dive because I'm not all wired in on both these guys, but both of them, they haven't lost since their first UFC bout, right? Yeah. I think 16 bouts and 14 for Rubovic. So, again, I probably lean towards Zellhuber in this matchup. Octagon jitters can be a real thing, and I don't think it's going to raise his head in this bout because these guys have enough experience in the UFC where it's going to be an electric atmosphere there in the Sphere. So I think they're looking at just kind of the breakdown of some of the logistics across the board. I'd have to lean towards Zellhuber in it.
Yeah. I'm going with him too because Frank said he trains at the Extreme, and I know a lot of people over there. So I'm going with him too. And it's Mexican Independence Day. You got to win for your country. All right, last fight on the main card, and we're going to stop here. Yeah. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus my dude, O'Day Osborne, who has lost his last 2 fights, man, from Jamaica, out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, now lives in Las Vegas. O'Day needs this fight because you can't keep losing and stay in the UFC. But for him to get a main card fight, man, like he's been on a lot of big cards. I think he fought the Conor and Cowboy card. He was on that card. So he's actually got a lot of good cards. But being in the main card at the Sphere is crazy. Like I was shocked when I saw him in the main card there. But I'm going with O'Day, man. I believe in him. I really do think he could win this fight. It's going to be a really tough fight. Rodriguez is really good. But I'm going with O'Day Osborne, man. I talked to him today, and he's ready. He's prepared. And if he wins, he'll probably come in the studio, get on the show next week. If he doesn't take too much damage, we'll get him in here and talk to him about the whole experience of fighting in the Sphere. And is that a distraction? It might be the video board. Like, who knows? Maybe. We haven't seen anyone fight in front of a video board like that ever. So it'd be interesting to be able to get him and maybe another fighter in here to talk about that.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear what the fighters have to say about their experience, because for the fans it's going to be amazing, but I can't imagine you're in there fighting and right behind you you're seeing yourself, you know, like how, because that's how I'm imagining it's going to work with that big screen. So, Marav's going to be fighting Sean, but then he's going to be watching himself fight Sean. And I'm like, mentally, like, you can't really prepare for that. They've been on the biggest stages in the world, but they haven't been on that particular stage, So I can't wait to hear. It's
very interesting to see. I mean, that's something that hasn't been talked about a lot. Like, how distracting can that be for the fighters?
Because you can tune out.
And how do you even train for that? Do you, like, fight here in front of my TV?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I take a look at this, right, and you see it's the first fight of the main card, right? And you got Lazy Boy out there, which, by the way, one of the greatest nicknames in UFC. All right, and he's on a 6-fight heater. The guy's been on a winning streak. Quan's guy, right? O'Day is on a losing streak. Let's face it, right? And it could be, what adds intrigue to this matchup too. He could be gone after this fight. If he loses this fight, he could be out the door. So that, to me,
you don't get to lose 3 or 4 fights in a row without being a ranked fighter and stay in the UFC. We've seen that too many times.
But it gives him all kinds of motivation, right, to get this win. Unfortunately, I don't think that it's going to shake out for him. But it's a good way to start because, and again, it goes back to what I think what Dana and UFC want is what do you want in the first card on the main fight? You want the Mexican fighter to win, right? So that's what I think is going to end up happening. I'm not suggesting anything nefarious. I'm just saying, I think that's just kind of the way it's going to shake out and how they set the matchup up.
All right, Fred.
The Jamaican sensation.
Yeah.
Okay. He's fighting. He trains now with at the Black Cobra MMA with Dewey Cooper.
With Dewey.
And I like O'Day. I like O'Day for this fight. I think he turns it around. It is basically for his situation, Mikey, Chris. It's a loser leaves town match. He can't lose this fight. Like you said, he probably won't be fighting the UFC if he loses this fight. So I think that's added emphasis. And we're talking about.
And you don't see many must-win fights in the main card either. To stay in the UFC,
it's usually
rare.
Those 3 or 4 prelim fights going into the main card that you have. They're like, well, this guy's trying to get his next contract. We think she'd be on this. She'll be on the main card if she wins this fight, kind of thing. he'll be the first fight out there where the lights are the brightest, everybody's tuned in, and it's like, all right, let's go. I mean,
and what type of pressure is that too?
Yeah.
So you're fighting in a new type of arena. You're fighting a Mexican fighter on Mexican Independence Day, so it's going to be loud in there for the other side.
oh yeah.
And you're fighting with maybe your life on the line. That's a lot of pressure for O'Day, but
But it's a kick in the
think he can
backside
handle it,
too.
yeah,
like you
exactly.
said. Yeah.
and sometimes you need that. Sometimes you get comfortable. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Even if I lose, okay, cool. It's one loss.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to motivate him.
He could play like a mental game kind of thing, just like embrace the fact that they're fighting on, UFC Noche, and
Yeah.
embrace the whole Mexican. They come out in a sombrero, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or you got the TV screens or whatever. Wear some 3D glasses, like throw some people off, play a little head game.
Yeah.
But that is a great point that you bring up, Quan. Usually you have some runway, right?
Yeah.
Usually you have some grace when you're on the main card, right? Like it's like Frank said, like if you're on the undercard, okay, we get the kind of the how it all sets up. But when you're one of the primetime gigs, you expect to have some type of ability to hang around.
And
Doesn't look like
everyone
it's gonna be the
tunes
case,
in
though.
at 7. They're not tuned in at 6:30 all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Like we are. We have it on the whole time. But the average viewer, the average bars around town,
Yep.
they're turning it on at 7 o'clock. So this is going to be the first fight everyone's going to see.
Yep.
I was gonna say too, for this to be the main card for them the first time that they're doing this UFC Noche, this is a really good card.
Yeah.
This is a really good
Very
main card.
solid.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely the best card of the year, right? And it's one of the best cards probably the last three or 4 years. At least that's what some of the talking heads are saying.
I mean,
I'm just throwing that out
It's
there.
in the mix.
I don't
It's
know.
there.
Yeah.
It's definitely there.
I mean, the 2 title fights lifted up a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been really good cards. I mean, UFC 300 was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
anything
think
ever
was the
beats that
best-
card.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, that was like the opening fight was 2 superstar fighters in the prelims, So I don't think anything ever beats UFC 300 unless UFC 400, does something crazy. But yeah, this is a good card though. Yeah. The undercards, Irene Aldana.
Which is the
There's-
one? It's
there's
the
a lot
one
of good
pick 'em
undercard
fight.
fights.
That's the one pick 'em fight,
There's-
right?
yeah.
Is the Aldana fight?
Well, no, it's showing her at 130 right now.
Oh, okay, because I was looking back. It was 110 last time I
Okay.
checked, but it's probably bouncing around at the Vegas books. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably different all around.
Yeah. So we will see. We will be here at the studio. If you guys want to come through, come through. We'll be watching it live. All right, moving on to the NFL Week 1.
Speaking of combat sports, you want to
Speaking of
dive right
combat
into it right
sports,
now?
we are going to do it right now. Tyreek
Yes.
Hill.
Oh, I thought we were gonna eat a dog.
Do you want a dog?
I wanted a cat.
You want a cat?
Yeah.
You got
Chris,
the,
did you?
you got the
oh, you
grill
said
fired
cat
up
too.
over here? You got the grill or the fryer fired up over here?
Oh, no, we don't grill them. We just
Oh,
skin
yeah.
them.
Okay. And just eat it raw?
Yeah, eat it raw.
Tartar.
George Foreman grill.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Would you rather eat a dog or a cat? Let us know in the comments. And have you been to Springfield, Ohio to, enjoy
Haitian-
the
Have
festivities?
you had Haitian cuisine
No,
in
but-
Springfield, Ohio?
Yeah.
I heard that's
Haitian
it's
cuisine.
America's premier destination, right? For
Yeah.
Haitian cuisine.
For Haitian.
Last time I checked.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. I mean, we saw the video. I guess we could play some of it. I'm trying to find the video that's actually.
Prior to the matchup, right? Miami taking on Jacksonville. It's 9:30 in the morning, right? You guys back here on the West Coast. We're getting ready to kick off the heavy, Sunday schedule of the NFL. And what is breaking news, Quan? Right before
This is
anybody
in
even
the
kicks
mo-
the
I
game
mean-
off, before anybody even takes the field,
Yeah.
and gets out there.
Yeah.
What's the news, Quan?
Well, I mean, Tyreek took a knee to start the, opening of the NFL. He was speeding. There was rumors he was going over 100 in a construction zone. We see some of the footage where it's like, no, he might have been going 60. That they're overdoing it. They knock on the window, and then he doesn't want to roll down the window,
Right.
which
Yeah.
you don't legally have to, I guess. I mean, you have to be able to get your ID and give it to them, but it just turned into a mess. Should he have just chilled and rolled down the window? Maybe, yeah. I mean, I would have, but for them to pull him out of the car the way they did, when they said unroll the window or we're going to pull you out of the car, and actually, never mind, we're pulling you out right now. They were very aggressive with that. You know, when you, as a cop, if you pull someone over, they're probably going to be more agitated than you, right? So your job is to de-escalate the situation. He's going to a game. You most likely know who he is, right? That's Tyreek Hill. You're a Miami cop. At least there was 3 or 4 cops there. At least one of the cops knew who he was because they even said it. Who's in the wrong here, though? Tyreek, the cops, both. Then some of his teammates came up and got handcuffed also.
Calais Campbell got handcuffed.
Yeah, it was a mess. And then Tyreek scored a touchdown and got handcuffed again by one of his teammates, which was actually one of my favorite touchdown celebrations ever. And he's coming out right now, so he's playing tonight. So we got to hurry up and pick this game. But the cops were aggressive to me. I don't agree with the way Tyreek was acting. But he didn't act illegally. He didn't do anything illegal. But we also know how cops are. Like, if they have a gun on their hip, just don't say anything. Just roll down your window, get your ID, take your ticket, sign it. You don't have to say a word to them. Take your ticket and move on.
Go on your way.
It could have been a way worse story. They might have canceled week 1 if an NFL superstar ends up getting shot by a cop. You know, and it could have escalated to that situation. We've seen it before on lighter, cops pulling over. But then with the teammates coming up and stuff like that, it started getting kind of crazy. So, Frank, what do you think about this whole situation, and how does the NFL deal with it? How do the Dolphins deal with it?
I mean, I don't know if the NFL has like a policy for talking to players about how you deal with police officers if you get pulled over. I don't know if there's like a summit or something for that. You try to live by the rule of you want to treat people how you'd like to be treated, and if there's blame for both, and there's accountability and responsibility for both. Could he have responded differently? Yes. Could the police officer responded differently? Yes. And how he was a little over aggressive, and then you start to pile on. I've dealt with Florida cops, man. I've been in Miami and gotten yelled at. My 78-year-old dad. Yeah. We've been yelled at by cops in Miami before.
And I've never been there before, but I know Miami is a different country when it comes to some of their laws and
Miami
and the way the
police
run.
do not play.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that. They don't play around. So, I mean, I thought, I mean, he's rolling up his window. When they showed the video, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah. That they respond. When he said, like you're saying, you're not required to roll your window down. He's saying, like, give him my ticket, whatever. He's being dismissive. I don't know exactly how he was supposed to respond.
He's also just saying, like, just give me what you do, what you have to do. Let me go. Let me move on from the situation.
Yeah.
So he's asking them, like, do what you have to do. I'm not saying don't give me a ticket. I'm not saying I was wrong in doing what I got pulled over for, but just let me move on. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, Michael. What do you think?
I think everyone's attacking him about how dismissive he was, and I get it. He could have said it better, but just because he could have said it better doesn't mean that they were still right. Especially when the cops are trying so hard to say, "Oh no, we're not brutal," all these things,
and we don't know his previous experiences with cops. Maybe like we don't.
And especially with when I get pulled over, I have a different experience than when other people get pulled over because I'm not too worried, but just because I'm not worried about it, like other people are, and I get why. Yeah. But also you got to think I had so much anxiety coming here and running a little bit late, so I can't imagine you're going to your first game of the season, you're running a little bit late. So I'm sure if it was just he was going to practice and he was on time getting pulled over or early, he probably would have handled the situation better. But he's on his way to the game, he's getting pulled over. I'm sure the last thing on his mind is thinking, like, let me, be real respectful,
right.
Because, when you're super anxious about something, you act a little out of character. So maybe that was just him.
And you're pumped up. It's week 1. Like, you might not have slept that much that night,
Yeah. And then he's got to tell his coach, like, oh, yeah, I'm late. Because no matter how good you are, star of the team, like, the coach isn't having you being late on your first game. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to echo a lot of what all three of you said. but I'm also going to add to it as well. When I see these scenarios present themselves, I tend to want to defer to people that work in law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
And listen to them. And we have a friend of ours, colleague of ours, right? Goose Thomas, who is a law enforcement officer. And he had some comments on this, and I listened very intently. And I was a little bit surprised. He was hard on the police officers. And I think he's right.
Yeah.
Okay. In this situation, multiple things can be true. I thought that Tyreek Hill was disrespectful, and I thought he was, Michael used the perfect word, dismissive in the initial encounter, right? We saw the video. Everybody's seen the videos, I'm sure, right? And then you see the videos from multiple angles. He keeps the window rolled up, and they're trying, a law enforcement officer is trying to communicate with you, and he was not rolling the window down. And you're driving a car that has, dark tinted windows. Yeah. The police officers are going to be a little bit hesitant, right? They're not.
He walked up and
it's not a great situation.
He knocked on the window, which is something I hate when people touch my car.
Do you really need to do it multiple times?
But I have a Kia. Yeah. I hate when people touch my car.
But you know what I'm saying.
So he has a $140,000 car. Don't touch my car.
But I'm trying to make a point, though, from the police officer standpoint. Like you can be more Tyreek should have been more cooperative, in my opinion, while he was still in the car, right? Mm-hmm. So when I say multiple things being true, that's one thing that's true, right? Once the windows roll down and the police officer asks him, says that he's going to get him out of the car, and then he makes the split decision, says, no, you know what? Don't even bother. Get out of the car now. You know what I mean? Right. And then once Tyreek opens his door, that's when it all goes haywire. Oh, yeah. And that's when the police officers were completely in the wrong. And again, I'm echoing a lot of what Goose said about this.
Tyreek didn't open his door.
Because the police officers acted way excessive.
Tyreek didn't open his door. They opened his door and told him
to all three of you. Why do you need to drag somebody out of the car?
Right.
Tyreek, to your point, you said that one of the officers might know who he was. I'm sure they probably figured he's a player driving a McLaren right into the
right in front of the stadium.
It's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, they're right in front of Hard Rock.
Yeah, exactly. It's right before a Miami Dolphins football game. Yeah. Okay, so they're and by the way, after the fact, after this is all done, there's been an assumption, right, that Tyreek Hill was not a threat to the police officers, right? There was no situation where Tyreek was presenting them any deadly force or trying to hurt the officers or anything. So
or even resisting, like he wasn't saying he's not getting out of the car.
So right when the officers started pulling him out of the car, that's when it was bad for the police officers, and then it just got worse after that. To Goose's point again. Part of a police officer's job is to what? It's to de-escalate the situation. Yeah. De-escalation, not increase tension in the situation. And that's exactly what happened.
Because
the police officers, it went way out of hand. Yeah. Any normal situation there, right? What do? You even if he was being uncooperative in the car, you stand him up man to man with you. Yeah. Okay, you've got what? 3 officers there, 3 or 4 officers. You stand him up. And then you start communicate with him and say, hey, look, you were speeding or whatever, inform him of the infractions. And that's all it has to be. You don't have to tackle him.
How are any of us going to feel if 3 people come to us? When you're sitting down, it's always intimidating when someone standing over you anyways, right? So it's always intimidating when the cop comes to your window, but there's 3 other cops with you.
Exactly.
And they're telling you to get out and then pulling you out before you even have a chance to obey their command of get out of the car.
Yeah. But what I'm talking about is the excessive force after the fact, right? They pull him out of the car. Not only do they not stand him up, they immediately handcuff him, and then they got him on the ground and force this is not necessary, okay? And this is the opposite of de-escalating the situation, which is why people have been up in arms about this. And it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is or whatever, or even what color of your skin is, right? We all understand that in America that black people have different experiences when it comes to law enforcement than white people do. Okay, we get that, right? And I think you're being. I don't think you're being intellectually fair with yourself, or I don't think you're being. I don't think you're being honest with yourself if you're thinking that doesn't have something to play here when it comes to skin color. It does. I don't think it's the whole kit and caboodle, but it matters, right? And so. Again, I say multiple things can be true. I thought Tyreek handled it was not cooperative from the jump, but the officers acted utterly unprofessional and they were excessive, in my opinion. Yeah. And don't take Chris Wynn's word for it, right? Or Quan's or Michael's, or Frank's. take law enforcement's word for it, because these officers are probably going to get disciplinary action, right? There's going to be consequences.
Well, one
for
was
the
already
officers.
on leave right away.
Tyreek Hill,
I mean, right after it happened, he was
exactly.
already on leave.
Yeah.
You're right. Juan, you're right? So you don't have to take just the everyman's position on this. Just take the law enforcement, what they are going to do to these police officers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Tyreek Hill faced his fines or whatever, right, for if he was speeding and for not having a seatbelt on, I guess, he'll face those fines, but Tyreek Hill's not going to face any other penalties.
No,
so to the point about the NFL, right? The NFL's not going to do anything. The NFL's not going to do anything because Tyreek Hill is not. I mean, it was a traffic infraction essentially, but he's not responsible, in my opinion, for the police officers going above and beyond and acting unprofessionally, and they're going to be disciplined for it. The police officers.
Yeah.
That's my take. And again, multiple things can be true, and I think that is the situation here with this scenario.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff.
But then they played a football game.
Then he played a game and then scored and played really well. So
Yeah, he did.
yeah.
And he's been talking about it, right? for the last
Miami's
2
on
days.
right now. So we're going to get into our week 1 picks because week 2 picks, my bad. Because there is a game on now. So let's get to this game first before someone scores, because Chris Wynn will try to cheat on his picks if Miami scores first.
I'll be looking out of the corner of my ear or corner of my eye.
But we
Corner of my ear.
have Miami Dolphins, almost interception, versus the Buffalo Bills. It's on Amazon Prime. Thursday Night Football is back officially on Prime. I'm looking forward to this game. Like I said, Prime games or Thursday night games used to be bad. But now they actually have really good matchups. They would throw people on, teams on Thursday night that need a primetime game, don't get a lot of love.
In the bottom of the standings.
Exactly.
In every
And it was
division.
always really bad games. But this is a really good divisional game right here at the beginning of the season. Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills. Both coming off the Bill. Who Bills play week 1?
Bills
Bills beat
won.
the Cardinals.
They knocked off
Cardinals,
Arizona,
yeah.
right? In an exciting game.
Arizona could have won that game because Marvin Harrison Jr. was wide open,
Dude.
and he didn't get the ball thrown to him. I mean, that's been shown everywhere, that video. How long is that relationship going to last if Kyler can't even see over the defenders to get him the ball as he's wide open? I got Miami in this game. It's in Miami. I like Miami a lot. I know they struggled a little bit at the end of last season. But they have a really good squad. Mostert's not playing tonight. He has a chest injury. I think he took a hit to the chest. So on a short week, there's a lot of things that happen on Sunday. When you have to play again Thursday, some things you just can't come back from. But I got Miami in this game. What's the spread on this?
Dolphins are 2.5 point favorite in this tilt.
favorites,
Yeah.
Miami.
Okay. So
And Dolphins coming off a win as well last week against the
Jags.
Jacksonville Jaguar game. Yeah.
So they got the ball, I think, through an interception.
So Buffalo's got a chance. They got the Vegas kid at tight end, Dalton Kincaid, for the Buffalo Bills, one of their pieces. Obviously, the Bills, right? They don't have some of their big time targets from last year on their team. So I'm with you. I've got Miami to win this game. I think they're going to start clicking offensively, getting better. Look, it's week 2 now, so you're getting kind of into the regular season. A lot of these quarterbacks, they just don't play in the preseason, right? So I think that adds to them being kind of rusty, and we saw that with some teams we're going to be talking about coming up later on. But I think Tua is one of those guys that when you don't get a lot of reps in preseason, usually you might need a couple games to get rolling.
Yeah, the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
you give some grace for some of these teams, some of these quarterbacks. Not all quarterbacks. There's one in New York that if they weren't paying him so much, he might not have a job right now.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. Frank, who you got in this game?
I'm leaning towards Buffalo. I like Josh Allen, and I think that.
And do you think Josh Allen has something to prove with losing some star receivers?
Well, whether or not he does or not, he's gonna have to, because he lost some peeps. But I think that I like Josh Allen a lot. It seems like the spotlight's on him. He's trying to do whatever he can.
Yeah.
To produce. I'm taking the Bills.
All right, Mikey, who you got?
I'm going with the Bills too. Yeah, I think the Dolphins are gonna have a lot of momentum coming off the last game. I mean, they both won, but the Dolphins, especially with the Tyreek Hill situation, it was just all over the media. It was good, good media for them.
Could that be a distraction though?
Maybe. I don't think so, though. I think it's more of like, I think more people are agreeing that, I mean, he was not completely correct, but that he wasn't the most wrong in that situation. And I think that's kind of the overall thing. So that'll give him a little momentum. That celebration was, I don't know if he's getting fined for that, but that was great.
I don't think he
that
did.
was amazing.
I think they were.
That was hilarious.
As a fan, that's like what I'd love to see.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think Josh Allen's just a force especially against Miami.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, he's beat them, or he's only lost to them once. I think he's beat them 10 times. So I just don't see him losing this one.
And I love it, Quan, because both of them right here they take Buffalo, right? But they're not even looking side eye over here at the game, and they're seeing that the Bills are driving down and might take the lead here.
I did see the interception, but I'm like, I don't want them to think that's why I'm picking them.
No.
They got Free Reek posters up there right now.
I love it.
Nice.
But Miami's been able to just chill at home for a while. You know, I mean, they played at home on Sunday, and you know, just been. I think that benefits them on a short week. And that's a big reason why I took Miami. If this was in Buffalo, I think I would go with Buffalo. But being in Miami, you got to chill at home. You didn't have to travel. So I think that makes a big difference. But I want to see a close game. Listen, when it's two teams I don't care about, I mean, I care about these teams, but when it's not my team, I just want to see a really good game. I want to see both teams scoring. I want to see interceptions. So I want to see a close game. I don't like blowouts. No more blowouts, Frank.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. Week 2, who else we got?
Let's go to Raiders Ravens. Ravens by 10
Here we go.
In Baltimore?
in Baltimore.
Both teams 0-1 on the season, right?
Yep.
Ravens taking on the chin.
There's two
against
different
the Chiefs.
There's two different 0-1s.
If you're the Raiders in this game, don't you just pray that the Ravens would have won that game in Kansas City in week 1? Because it would just be prime, you know, a prime look ahead situation for the Ravens. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You got a pissed off, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and a Ravens defense going up against the Raiders.
Touchdown
who,
Bills.
Outside of, the running back whose name is escaping me right now from the Raiders that they got from Minnesota.
Daps over there.
The guy from the Raiders that they got from Minnesota.
Oh no, my bad. They were giving Daps because James Cook just scored.
Oh, did he? Yes. Yeah. There it is. Boom! Right off the bat, I'm already on the backside. And I put it in too on William Hill. Yeah. But
just like Shannon Sharp
was a running back from Minnesota that plays for the Raiders now that had the touchdown last week against the Chargers. Yeah, his name's escaped me. Anyway, that was the one offensive highlight that the Raiders had last week.
Adrian Peterson.
Oh, Addison.
Was it Addison? No, it's not.
No.
No, the running back for Minnesota. He plays for the Raiders now. I can't think of his name. But look, Gardner Minshew, I guess, gives them the best chance to win if you're the Raiders, I guess. But he's not necessarily electrifying. He's not a guy that's going to go out there.
He's a really good backup quarterback.
Yeah. He's not a
Madison.
starter, though. Madison, my bad.
Alexander Madison.
That was a nice play. I mean, that was their offensive play of the game, right?
And he had a baby that day. His wife gave birth to the baby.
Oh, was it? Yeah. So a double a whopper for him on a good note. Obviously, you like Brock Bowers, right? If you're the Raiders, he's going to be a guy. I think he's going to be like a Swiss Army knife for them offensively for Vegas. And Davante Adams is Davante Adams. He's one of the best in the league, and he's probably their offensive leader, right? But
how long is he going to be there, Chris?
See, here's the thing, and I go back and forth with people about this because there's this idea that they're going to trade Adams. I think that if the Jets don't do something in the season, first of all, I think Davante Adams is going to be here for the rest of the season, regardless.
Okay.
Because I think the Raiders are going to be okay. They're not going to be terrible. So I think he's going to still be here. But if the Jets don't make the AFC Championship game, Aaron Rodgers is on a 1-year deal. So is it beyond the realm of possibility that you could see Aaron Rodgers, because you heard Davante Adams, I don't know if you guys watched the Receiver show over on Netflix.
Great show.
It was awesome, right? And I focused on two great players in San Francisco, obviously, and George Kittle and Debo. But they also obviously focused on Davante Adams. And Adams is adamant, saying, yeah, it wouldn't be bad to play with Aaron Rodgers once again sometime soon. That doesn't mean that he has to go to the Jets.
Yeah.
It could also mean he could end up in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I would not think that'd be anywhere out of the realm of possibility that Mark Davis and the Raiders and Raider Nation would want to make that work, right? Want to have Aaron Rodgers come to Vegas next year? I mean, it would be a huge jump starter.
They have a quarterback open.
Yeah. You think he's better than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell? I mean, no disrespect to both those guys, but come on. So, but conventional thinking of like Quan brought up is that he could get traded, and if he does, maybe the Raiders are trying to get whatever they can for him. They're going to try to get the maximum value for him.
And you mentioned receiver on Netflix. That's where we saw that he actually did want Jimmy G gone. And not playing. So that's why they benched Jimmy G when Pierce took over. And we saw his frustration with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's been in an NFC Championship, been in the Super Bowl, has a Super Bowl ring as a backup. I don't think Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell is as good as Jimmy G.
They're not.
And so his frustration might look a lot worse this time. And he wanted to be traded last year. If they didn't make that coaching change, I think he would have demanded a trade. We might see that. I mean, I think the coaching's better, but I don't know if they're going to be a good team at all. They could lose. If they're 0-4, he's going to ask for a trade.
Yeah. I mean, it's a possibility. And I'm not going back to the Jimmy G thing. I thought they pulled the trigger way too early on Jimmy G. I mean, that was my personal opinion. I mean, you signed a guy to a huge, to a big deal. You expect him to be your franchise quarterback, and after 4 weeks, you just what can that whole thing. I mean, come on, man. That's on Josh McDaniels and the previous. But I digress.
Right, we got like 10 more minutes, so let's get through these games.
Yeah, the Ravens are probably going to win. They could win by double digits.
Yeah,
I just don't know how I don't know how the Raiders are going to score. Yeah. I just don't know how they're going to score.
I think
they might get a touchdown in the game.
Yeah,
I'm thinking something like 24-7, something like that.
Baltimore's going to score a lot more than that. I would say 34-10, maybe. I think it's going to be a lot more than 10 points. A win in Baltimore. I mean, that's going to be bad. Frank, what do you got on this?
Raiders aren't going to generate much as far as offense goes. I'm not a huge believer in Pierce. I like Antonio Pierce, but a lot of those scenarios where you have the interim coach become your head coach, they don't work out. So I'm hopeful. I like Antonio Pierce a lot, but I don't know.
And I just don't know if it's his fault that they lose either, though. I mean, when you don't draft a quarterback or you don't trade for a quarterback, which I think everybody was expecting, like, okay, they might not draft one, but are you going to trade for one? I mean, you had a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, and they didn't try to trade up to get any of them.
And then they signed Minshew.
And then they signed Gardner Minshew. So, I mean, it's not Antonio Pierce's fault if they lose. Michael, you got the Raiders?
No. No, I got them getting blown out, too. I mean, their defense is okay, but the Ravens has great defense. Like you said, I don't even see the Raiders scoring, maybe one touchdown, but there's nothing you can do. You can have the best receivers in the world, but if you don't have someone to throw to them, our running backs aren't doing crazy good either, like they're nothing to write home about, so you can't win a game with defense, especially when the Ravens have a good defense as well.
Yep.
And Quan Michael talked about defense. Tyree Wilson out too, by the way. That's huge.
Do you have a game in particular you want to go? I know we can't get to all these games in.
We'll do them quick. We'll
go through Chargers Panthers. Chargers by 6.5 on the road.
Give me Chargers. Only by 6.5.
Yeah.
Carolina's
the worst team in the league to me. I think they might win 2 games.
All right.
Give me Chargers.
Carolina.
Chargers. Carolina.
This is the one. You just said 2 games. This is one of the 2 games they win.
All right.
West Coast team going east. Early start time again. I'm going to go on a limb. Say Carolina. This is do they shock the world by beating the Chargers? No.
You're a Michigan State guy though, so
Panthers
don't be disrespectful.
Panthers cover, but
yes,
I think the Chargers are going to win.
Okay.
Saints at Dallas. -7. They're in Jerry World.
Saints looked a lot better than I expected them to be because I didn't give them high marks last week. Derek Carr looked like Derek Carr again, which he didn't really look like that much last year. He had some games, but last week he looked really good. But Dallas also looked amazing. I got to take Dallas at home, even though I want to take New Orleans, and I think New Orleans could win, but I'm taking Dallas.
Saints are impressive, right, against that Carolina team last week. But I think the Saints take a step back. I think Dallas is clearly the better football team here between these 2 teams, and I think that one more week of seasoning for this Dallas offense. Their defense is solid too.
Yeah.
I'll take the Cowboys.
Michael.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys, but no, I'm gonna go with the Saints, but I think the Cowboys will cover the spread.
Yeah.
Do you bet?
Yeah.
She said,
That's
yeah.
that's
You hit
why
the window,
I know.
little parlay action at the windows. I love
I've
it.
been making parlays since I was like 7. That's how I started liking sports. My dad, every Sunday we'd go to the sports book and sit at the deli, and he'd give me $5, and I'd make a $5 parlay, and we'd
That's
sit there
dope.
and watch all the games.
love
But
that.
technically,
Did you win a
can
lot?
sit. No. But when I started betting overs and unders,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
more my game. But yeah, because you can sit in the deli as a kid. It's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
right.
Yeah.
Found the loophole.
Do you
Oh,
have
yeah.
do you have an app?
No, I would be broke if I did. So I know myself.
She knows. She
It takes
trusts
too much
herself.
effort to go to the sports book, so I'll go like
Yeah,
once a
yeah,
week
yeah.
or with my dad. But if
Yeah.
it's on my phone, I'm betting everything every night.
Yeah.
All right, Frank.
The Cowboys, and I think they cover. The Cowboys, Buccaneers, and the Lions.
Here we go.
Buccaneers in Detroit,
It's actually a good game.
-6. Obviously, you've got Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. I know.
Yeah, so Baker Mayfield right now is the MVP of the NFL, by the way, guys. He is.
He
He's
looked
the MVP
great.
right now. But
Browns might want to
this
trade
is a
for him.
rematch, everybody, of the playoffs last year, and both teams are very similar, except there's one little thing that's different. It's called Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, it's going to be a breakout year for him. Yes, I'm the resident Lions fan. Honolulu Blue and Silver all the way. And we
Shout out, listen,
we
man.
pulled
Shout out,
one out last week.
Shout out to them being
Yes.
good.
We pulled it out.
I'm actually.
We were a half away from going to the Super
I
Bowl
have a
here in
hand,
Vegas
I have a
last year.
handful of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you were playing the best team in the league.
Yeah.
That was
No,
one holding call away or 25
Yeah.
holding calls away from winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I have a handful of Lions fans, and you guys are not jerks, even with your team being good. Jamal is
Yeah.
kind of a jerk, but the rest of you are really just cool. And so if Niners don't win the Super Bowl, I want to see the Lions do it.
Yeah.
They've been a horrible team forever. So being able to see you guys actually like have a team now
Yeah.
is crazy because they've been bad for so long. Even when you had Barry Sanders, the best player in the league at the time, you guys struggled. So I'm happy for you guys.
Yes.
I'm happy for you.
If this game was in Tampa, I probably I'd take Tampa with the points, right? Just to cover, not to win the game, but just to cover. This game's in Detroit, though. So Lions, I think, are going to win. Again, much like Dallas last week, Detroit wasn't exactly overly explosive offensively, but I think they will be in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, too. And I think Detroit prevails
All right.
and covers.
Frank.
Lions.
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 Me too.
Colts, Packers. Colts are favored by 3.5.
No Jordan Love.
Not sure about Jordan Love. He's not playing.
Malik
They-
Willis is starting, right?
They're saying, well, that's what they said, but
Yeah.
they're holding out hope that Jordan gets prayed over or something. I don't know. He can walk.
Richardson looked really good last week against the Texans. That was such a fun game to watch. Two of my favorite young quarterbacks for sure. I'm going with Colts in this one. I think they're going to actually have a really good year.
Indianapolis in a blowout, in my opinion, because of the uncertainty at the most important position on the
Yeah.
field for the Green Bay Packers.
No, Colts.
Colts. But if Love plays, I think Packers.
Cool.
Is he for sure ruled out?
Yeah, pretty much.
They said 3 to 4 weeks.
They
So
said
he's
3 to
not-
4
Let's put it at 90.
They're
Let's put it at
not going to let
95%.
him. They're not going to let him play.
Yeah,
because
you're not going
yesterday
to
I
risk
heard-
long-term injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
Week 2.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
They're
I think
trying to
it
mess
was
with people.
50-50.
Yeah.
Okay. Colts.
Browns at Jags. Jags -4. This is a game that you might do some chores or something. This is the laundry game. You might do
I
the laundry.
mean, I got a red zone, so they won't show a lot of that game.
No, they won't.
I got the Jags in this game though. I'm a Jags fan. I still think they're a good team. I just don't think they're a contender, but they're a good team. I like Trevor Lawrence. And then Deshaun Watson looked horrible. And Baker Mayfield looked amazing in Tampa. So Browns made a huge mistake by overpaying Deshaun, and now another woman's trying to get money from Deshaun. Yep. So it's just not looking good in Cleveland right now. Yeah, give me the Jags.
No Nick Chubb for what, 3 more weeks? Not good for
yeah.
Cleveland. That locker room can't be in a good situation right now. And it just smells like a knockdown, drag out Jacksonville Cleveland game. That number scares me though, Frank, when I look at that, because I think 4, do I want to lay 4 if I'm this? I probably would though. I'll lay the 4 with Jacksonville and take the Jags.
All right.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, I agree. I'll do Jacksonville too. I think But I don't know. I don't know if they'll cover because I feel like it's going to be a game of like field goals.
Yeah, it could be like 17,
Yeah,
19,
like,
17,
I feel like
right?
it's going to be
No,
a game
something like
of
that.
field goals.
Yeah.
I think that's
And you could
obviously
get
why it's
screwed
-4,
on the -4.
yeah.
I can totally smell getting
Frank, who
screwed
you
in
got?
this game.
Jaguars. They're gonna cover.
All right, next game. We got three minutes.
Okay. I
Sorry.
want to make sure you get your team in there. Niners at Vikings. Niners favored by 5.5.
Kirk Cousins. Oh, he's not there anymore.
Sam Darnold, superstar.
No, I was going to say another guy. McCarthy. Oh, no, he's not there either. Yeah, Sam Darnold, he knows the team. You know, he's played against that defense a lot, being there last year. I think it's hilarious that our boy Mason knew on Friday that he was going to start. And then Kyle Shanahan was like, no, we didn't say that.
I think it was a misunderstanding. I think
I
they just
don't-
said, be ready.
And
He might have just said it.
I think
off the
Shanahan
cuff
was
and
trying
like,
to
"Oh yeah, I
cover
was going to
himself.
play." Yeah,
Shanahan was covering.
You think so?
himself. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There was no way McCaffrey was going to play
Yeah.
week 1 with that type of injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, who are they playing? Oh, Minnesota. Blowout 49ers.
Wow.
Shocker! I'm just blown away right now that Quan went that
And
way.
we lost to them last year on
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, so we owe them a blowout.
McCaffrey's not going to play because it's on turf, so they're not going to play him, right? And so another week without him, but it's not going to matter. Mason's going to be solid again, probably like just under 100 yards, 15, 20 carries. And then I hope they get Brandon Ayuk more involved in this game because Ayuk didn't do a whole lot in the last
Well,
They get
he
they get
missed
some
a
reps and stuff.
touchdown
game.
catch.
But you get that point though. The Niners' offense is more explosive when all the pieces are clicking on all cylinders.
All right.
But I think San Fran wins.
Picks,
Yes.
no analysis
San
Fran.
for the rest of the games.
Yeah.
Frank.
Niners.
Okay. Next game.
Seahawks Patriots. Seahawks minus 3.5
In
in New England.
give me the Patriots. They looked good last week.
Seahawks, Patriots come back to earth.
Patriots and covering the spread.
Because she likes Boston.
Patriots.
That was my team before the
Boston
Raiders.
team.
I got the Pats and they cover Jets at Titans minus 4.5.
Oh,
Jets are favorites
yeah.
too.
Give me the Jets. Give me the Jets.
All right.
I'm taking Tennessee plus the points.
All right.
Tennessee.
All right.
Hopefully, Will Levis doesn't do a falling on the ground interception again.
I got the Jets. Giants at Commanders. Washington Commanders. Another unwatchable.
Another terrible game.
Commanders minus 2.5.
I love Jaden Daniels.
He's going to be exciting, but not yet.
I think he's the best quarterback in that draft.
He could be.
I wanted Raiders
Watch
to
Michael
trade up
Penix
for
be
him.
the best one. Watch it happen.
He could be. He played in college for 10 years.
Yeah. What do you got?
Him and Bo Nix. Oh, I got
Commanders.
Washington.
I'll take Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
Commanders. Yeah, Washington.
Giants are garbage.
I wanted to
I
keep
hate
the
the
Washington
Giants.
football team.
Giants might be the worst team in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
He threw a
Rams.
pick 6 on the 5.
Yeah.
Rams at Cardinals minus 1.5.
Rams.
Rams.
Rams are going to be really good this year, and they look like it against the Lions. They're going to be
The
really
Rams were surprisingly good in week one,
Puka
even with injuries.
Puka's out.
He's out, but
for
they're still going to
4
win.
weeks.
I
Okay.
take
Next game.
LA.
LA.
Rams. Bengals at Chiefs
Great game.
Oh, Chiefs.
minus 6. Chiefs minus 6.
Bengals didn't look good in week 1. That was a for sure game for them to win. I don't know anyone that didn't pick them to win that game, and they lost. So give me Chiefs are going to blow them out.
Still no Higgins, right? Still no Chase, right? Yeah, come on. Chiefs are going to cover that 6 easily, I think.
Yep.
Double digits. Win.
I don't know if they're going to cover, but the Chiefs are going to win.
Okay.
I got the Chiefs. Steelers at Denver. Steelers are favored by 3.5.
Give me Steelers.
I'll take Broncos.
All right.
Steelers on the road with a rookie quarterback. Nah.
Rookie.
What do you think?
Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers?
Well, second-year guy, right?
Yeah, rookie
yeah.
is.
He feels
Denver.
like a rookie.
I'm
He
gonna
feels
go,
like one.
I'll go Steelers as well. Sunday Night Football. Bears at Texans. Texans are favored by 6.5.
Give me them by 16.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with Quan. Houston's a way better team than the Bears are. Okay, Bears haven't proven anything yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They should have lost last week.
We all-
Yeah.
to Titans.
We're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Texans by double digits.
Bears
yeah.
got to prove it. You got to show up
Definitely.
first.
Do you want to do Monday night or you want to
Monday night.
Okay, Monday Night Football.
Well, we'll be doing it Monday too, but yeah, let's do it.
The Falcons at Eagles minus 6. The Eagles are favored by minus 6.5. Excuse me.
Atlanta looked worse than they should have because Steelers defense was amazing. So I don't think they're going to look that bad again. Kirk Cousins is back. Like you said, man, it takes a quarterback a while coming off an injury like that. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm not judging them off week one. I'm going to go with Atlanta.
I see where your head's at. After seeing what Saquon did, though, in Rio.
Saquon's
not in Rio, in Brazil. The Eagles are loaded. The Eagles are my pick other than the Lions to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC, so I'd probably roll with Philly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Atlanta and did not watch their game last week, so I'm just going to go with the Eagles.
All right.
I'm nervous about Cousins and shotgun and all those things. He didn't take any snaps over center, no play action. I got Philly. I don't. Like
So Michael Penix is going to be in the second quarter in this game.
We are now on. We're now on Penix watch.
Penix watch.
We are on Penix watch.
Yes.
Wow. All right, folks, we got to get out of here. We got people ringing the doorbell. Tune in Monday, 4 p.m. West Coast time, right here on Unnamed Sports Show, Gorilla Cross Sports on YouTube. Make sure you check us out. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you.
You can do it again with us?
Yes.
All
You're
right.
not nervous
Good
anymore.
times.
No. Oh, I forgot we were on this. I thought
You're
we
a
just
seasoned
vet.
yapping.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
You've been
That's all
I just
solid
needed to talk for a
all show
second.
long.
That's right.
Yeah.
Follow Chris, follow Frank. Tune into the West Comics on YouTube in 15 minutes to see Frank talk about nerdy stuff.